Alright, so we just got through toning Athena's hair, and we used the Wella Relight to cut some of the warmth out, and it's really nice and shiny. I can't wait to see it dry. I have taken the regular fringe area from the round of the head to eyebrow, and there's 3 ways to cut fringe. You can cut it at 0 degrees elevation, 45 degrees elevation, or 90. 0 degrees is going to give you the most blunt edge, 45 degrees is going to create a little bit of bevel, and 90 degrees, which we're doing here, is going to create a very soft, layered texture look. Now Athena mostly wears her hair to one side, but the way we cut it, she's going to be able to flip sides. She's going to have bipartal bangs. Now distance equals length. My goal is to leave it around her chin to lip area, and that's about 7 inches. So when I cut, I'm going to cut about 7 inches off. Just cut right in there, 90 degrees from the head shape. I go in there and just texture those ends, point them just a little bit. Now I let this down, it should be around the chin area. And I know that because distance equals length. There we go. So when I dry them, they're going to pop up just a little bit. Alright, now I'm going to take the central vertical section. It's going to be from inner eyebrow to inner eyebrow. It's going to be about the width of my comb. And this section is going to be the truth. It's going to be our guide for the rest of the haircut. I'm going to pull this straight up to the top of the head at 90 degrees, over directed, from the top of the head. And I'm going to point my fingers down because I want a little bit more layering towards the front. I'm just going to cut out short to long. Shortest towards the front, longer towards the back. Now I'm going to take this section and split it right down the middle for central parting. I got my guide, and we're going to take a diagonal back, and then we're going to drop the perimeter out right around the middle of the head. I'm going to stand on the side of my guide so I can see what I'm cutting. And I'm going to over direct all of this right towards the center top, and I'm going to have that guide to cut from. So right here, my fingers are mimicking the direction I want to cut. I can see my guide, and I'm going to point right through there. Just cutting right at it. I can drop some of the hair that I've already cut, so I'm not holding too much. So we're going to take our next parting. I'm going to put my thumb on this corner, and from the center comb right to where my thumb is. That way we don't leave any of that out. And drop out the perimeter again. This is called like a fail-safe, so you don't accidentally cut through it. Once again, we're going to stand on the side of your guide. You're going to comb everything up. You have your guide right here. I can see it. My fingers are mimicking the direction I want to cut. I'm going to point right through there. So everything's inverted right towards the center. So the layers are going to get a little bit longer as they go further away from the center of the head. So this creates a very natural long layer. So this is great for someone who wants to try layers for the first time, or they have long hair and they just want a little bit of shape in their hair. You can also angle the layers towards the back, and you'll get more volume and a lot more bounce towards the crown. But in this particular case, we cut a little shorter towards the front, so when we go in with the facial framing, it's going to have a little bit more layers towards the front. We're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. And take a diagonal back, drop out the fail-safe. I'm going to stand on the side of my guide, comb everything to me, and what I'm looking for is the truth right here. There it is. I'm going to point that. I'm just going to take the remaining section, drop out a perimeter. just like I did on the previous side. Comb it right towards me. Everything's inverted right towards the center and 90 degrees from the head shape. There's the truth. I'm going to go in there and just point that right off. So when you're doing a cross section to check it, you can go in horizontally. What you're looking for when you pull it up is for the layers to get slightly longer towards the outside. Like a slight U shape. And that happens because we inverted everything. So right in here we got a little bit of a U shape. Right there, it's getting a little longer towards the edges. That's what you're looking for. Alright, so I'm having Athena stand up. I've combed everything to natural fall. So how she normally wears it, everything's combed natural fall. I got all the slack out of there. I want to maintain her length, but I'm going to go in. And the reason I had her stand up is so we don't create any elevation. Starting right in the center back. Combing everything squared, 0 degrees elevation. And I'm going to cut from the center out and then from the center out. If you create elevation, you're going to create, if you cut on the chair or on a towel, it's going to flip out just a little bit. You're going to create a little bit of layering, a little bit of bevel. So my guide is towards the center and I'm just going to work it out. Everything's nice and straight. So I'm going to check for balance before I start cutting the facial framing. You can even cut it right here in your comb to be a little more accurate. Looks good to me. We're going to work on the next section. So I've combed everything to natural fall again. And I'm using the corner of the perimeter we just cut as a guide, and I'm going to cut up from there. So I'm going to comb this all natural fall. And here's 0, here's 90. I'm going to hold it right between at 45 degrees so we create just a little bit of softness around the face. And I'm going to start at that corner that we just preserved, and I'm going to cut up from there. And I'm just cutting 1 to 2 knuckles at a time. And visually I'm looking at where I want it to end up, whether it's her lip or an inch below her chin or wherever you want that to be. And I'm going to repeat the same technique on the other side and then check for balance before I continue. Now the reason you don't want to start at the top and start cutting your way down is because if you cut too short, you're going to cut right through your perimeter line. So it's always safer to start at your corner and cut up until you get the hang of it. So I'm just going to make sure it's nice and straight. I'm liking the way it's looking. So I'm going to repeat this on the other side, and then we're going to get her dry. So I'm going to apply Sebastian's Trilliant. You have to shake it to activate it. And this is used for shine, lightweight body, and heat protection. So I'm going to style her out with a round brush. Get it nice and smooth. Alright, so I'm really happy with the way the color turned out. We just got through toning it with the relights. And this is the inversion layer, dry and styled. We used a large round brush on it. Got the new fringe in here. The only thing I want to add to this to personalize it for Athena is to go through with my texture blades. And these just blend the hair out. And in her case, I'm going to go, because the layers are pretty long still, so I'm going to go hold it up at 90 degrees. And right above the halfway mark and just a little bit towards the end, I'm just going to put a little bit of texture in there. And that's going to give her a little bit more volume with these long layers. Some people call them seamless layers. Alright, this is going to make a big difference on her hair because it's fine, but she does have a lot of it. So it's going to dry a little quicker. It's going to have a lot more volume. It's going to be really soft and just blend everything together. So I'm being very careful not to overlap sections. I'm really happy the way the fringe turned out because it already looks like it has texture. because we cut it at 90 degrees. I'm going to go through there and just soften it up just a little bit more. I'm going to finish off with a little bit of hairspray to stay firm from Wella. And a little bit of the mirror polish also from Wella. This stuff is great. Put it through your hands and just work it from mid-shaft to ends. Do I see a smile there? Maybe a little baby one? That's great. I'm really digging the color. And I can't wait to put her in front of the camera and do a little photo shoot. But it's still nice and long. Just has a little bit of movement to it.